everybody. Welcome to Thrive once again, where I believe you were not created to survive, but to thrive. And if you change yourself, you can change your world. I am your host, Alex Sagat. Today, I'm excited to get back into it. I want to talk to you from this topic today. Stay the course. Stay the course. This has been something that I've tried to live out in my own personal life for years. I remember this one story that I read in the Bible years and years and years ago about King Asa. King Asa was somebody in Scripture that didn't stay the course. In fact, if you read throughout the Old Testament, you'll hear about a lot of leaders, a lot of kings that started well but didn't end well. Started well but didn't end well. That became a huge motivating factor in my own life. I wanted to be somebody that just didn't start well, but I ended well. I have a bunch of examples of people who did that in my own life, and they are people that I respect, that I value, mentors, pastors in my life that I absolutely love. And I've always wanted to be like that. I've always wanted to imitate that. God help me, not just to start right, but to stay the course. I want to end right. I want to get to 80, 90 years of age, and that I look back and I stayed the course. I was a person who wasn't moved, who didn't budge, move in my convictions, in my purpose, in my calling. One of the verses that I absolutely love is 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58. The Apostle Paul, he's writing, and he writes these beautiful words. Therefore, my beloved brothers, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. These are beautiful words. I'm sure most of us have probably heard them a million times, but they jump out to me. I love them. They speak to me. And I love some of the words here so much. He says, be steadfast, be immovable, and always abounding. Those words, they speak to my heart. This is the type of leader I want to be. This is the type of a person that I want to be. If I'm going to thrive, I do believe I need to be steadfast, immovable, always abounding. And so I take that personally. I want to be this kind of leader. And I think there's something beautiful about longevity. I think God blesses longevity. I've seen people that bounce in and out of different things, and I don't think that's a person who ends up thriving, or they're not thriving yet, because they're always checking out and checking into different places. There's something beautiful about long-lasting relationships, right? There's something beautiful about a long-lasting marriage. There's something beautiful about long-lasting friendships. And even if you have to start again, let's try to start with that in mind. I want to be a person who has longevity attached to their life. Let's have friendships that last a lifetime. There's something beautiful about that. Let's have careers that last a lot. There's something beautiful about that. Not that we won't have to change from time to time, but that's not always persistent in our life. That's not the main thing. We are people with longevity. And I think there's absolute beauty in that. There's something honoring about that. And I do believe there's something holy about that. Stay the course. We're going to stay the course. I was reading an article recently that talked about CEOs or people of high-ranking executive offices. And it talked about how long they were in their careers. Most of them have an average of 8 years. 8 years. The article was talking how that is not good if you are going to have a good reputation, if you're going to have people follow you. You want to try to stick around a little bit longer. In other words, if you're going to be a leader, you can't lead well if you can't stick around. If we're going to be leaders who thrive, stick around. Stick around. If you're going to be a leader in your family, stick around. If you're going to lead in your relationships, stick around. If you're going to lead in your organization, stick around. And usually people with longevity have more weight to their name. They have more honor to their name, and people will follow you. Listen, you'll thrive because there's longevity attached. You stayed the course. Companies that have made the difference, Fortune 500 companies, or most of them, have leadership that have stayed the course. You look at Warren Buffett, you look at Jeff Bezos. These are people who have been 20 plus years in the organizations that they started or that they are a part of. So today, how can we stay the course? I want to talk about it from this aspect. How can a good season turn into a lasting season. I'm glad for good seasons in life, but I want to make sure they're lasting seasons. And I think so often what we do is that we celebrate these seasons, but they come and go. And I don't think that necessarily always has to be the case. I want a good season in my life to be a lasting season. I'll give you another example. In our organization, in our church, we've had some good times recently. We've had some really good, awesome things happening. And what I keep telling the team is let's learn from teams around us. Let's learn from teams that went before us, whether that's a sports team, a company, another organization. How did some turn a good season into a lasting season, right? And so you have to look at their culture. You have to look at their values. You have to look at their character. You have to look at how they were made up. If you want to turn a good season into a lasting season. I don't just want to have a good season in my marriage. I want to have a lasting season in my marriage. I just don't want to have a good season with friends. I want to have lasting relationships with longevity in my life. So I want to turn a good season into a lasting season. This podcast is all about thriving. Let's be leaders who thrive. Today, if you want to thrive, I do believe you need to be a person who stays the course. Don't be moved easily. Don't be swayed easily. Be a person of convictions, morals. Be a person who stays the course. The Apostle Paul says, you're steadfast, you are immovable, and you are always abounding. And I believe that with the help of the Holy Spirit, we can be these kinds of leaders. So today, as we talk about staying the course, I want to share just 3 quick things that I think can help us today have longevity and stay the course. I don't want to be like those Old Testament kings. I don't want to be like those Old Testament leaders that started well but ended poorly. How can we end well? I'll give you 3 simple keys, and we'll talk about this on other episodes, maybe more in depth. Today, just to start this conversation about staying the course, what can we do? Okay, 3 things that I think can help us stay the course. Number 1, character. Character. I speak about this often. I talk about this all the time because I think character will keep you where God placed you. Be a person of character. I can't stress this enough. I stress it on my own life enough. I want to be a person of character. If you are a person of character, you'll turn a good season into a lasting season, whether that's in your friendships, whether that's in your romantic relationships, whether that's in a career, in an organization, a church that you're a part of. Be a person of character. If you're going to stay the course, if you're going to be here for the long haul, if you want some honor attached to your name, if you want a good reputation attached to your name, be a person of character. Character is so, so important. I'm glad that you're gifted. I'm glad that you're talented. But I don't believe God honors that. He honors the character. We've talked about this before. I'm going to continue to talk about it. In leadership, in life, you need to be a person of character. Be a person that is steadfast. Be a person that's immovable, always abounding. That means you're a person of character. You're not swayed. You're not swayed by money opportunities. You're not swayed by a bigger platform somewhere else. You're not swayed because the grass looks greener somewhere else. No, you're a person that's immovable. I'm not going to move until God tells me. I'm not going to move on my principles and my morals. In my marriage, I'm not going to move. I want to be a person of character. And that means we got to go and talk to a therapist. And that means we got to go and sit down with the pastor. And that means we have to go and talk to some mentors. But I want to be a person of character that's going to help me stay the course. That's going to help me with longevity. Number 1, character. Work on it. Get help around it. Get accountability. Work on our character today, and you'll stay the course. I want to end well. Your character is going to help you end well in life. And so today, I think about me as an 80-year-old man, a 90-year-old man, God willing. My character is going to help me get there and end well. Number 2, competence. Competence. And this is more dealing with our team when it comes to organizations. But I think you can also bring it relationally, whether that's friendships or a marriage. Competence is huge. If we're to be people that stay the course, we got to be competent people, meaning we are people who are always learning, always developing, always trying to learn a new gift, learn a new talent, trying to hone in on our gifts and say, how can I get better? It's going to help you stay longer. I was listening recently to a podcast, a sports podcast, and they were talking about all the different players who have gotten better throughout the years. And all the players that have gotten better are players who in the offseason, talking about basketball, they learned a new skill. They developed a new skill. Maybe you're really good at dribbling the ball with a right hand. This summer, I'm going to practice dribbling with my left hand. And so these kind of players developed, and they've stayed in the NBA longer. They've stayed a commodity longer, where different sports teams wanted them, different basketball teams wanted them. Why? Because they worked on a different skill all the time. They're always growing. Hey, you're really good at your layups, but try three-point shooting this summer. Let's develop. What I mean is maybe you've been a pretty good husband for the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years. What's a different skill that I can work on? Maybe I need to work on this skill. Maybe I need to take more time to listen to my wife. I've been good, but I don't want to be good. I want to be great. So I'm going to work on a different skill. Your competence will take you to the long haul. It's going to help you be a leader that stays the course. Hey, I've been bringing this to my organization. It's been helpful. But now, if I want to be here for the long haul, I'm going to try to get better in other areas. Competence is huge. If you want to be a leader who thrives, stay learning, stay competent, stay learning. And I'm telling you, I do believe God blesses that. Me, I really believe I'm just getting started. I'm learning all I can. I'm far from perfect, far from arriving. I'm looking at different communicators, different preachers, different pastors, different leaders around. I'm learning all I can because I want to keep growing. I want to shepherd people better. I want to pastor people better. I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better father. I'm just starting there. I need all the help I can. So character is important, but also competence. And then number 3, consistency. Consistency is absolutely important if you are going to be a person that stays the long haul, the person that stays the course. A person with longevity to their life is a consistent person. Inconsistency, the opposite of consistency, is one of the worst traits I think a leader can have. If you are inconsistent, in fact, you won't lead long. If you are inconsistent, you're not going to have fruitful relationships, whether that's friendships, whether that's a romantic relationship. There's nothing worse than an inconsistent person, right? I think about some friends that have been inconsistent. They're no longer friends because nobody wants to be friends with somebody that's inconsistent. You say one thing one day, you say something else the next day, or you say something and you don't come through. If we bring that to a marriage, that's not going to be a long-lasting marriage. You're not consistent. You're not consistent with the vows that you made before God. You're not consistent with the vows that you made before each other. I want to work on my consistency. I want to daily show up. And so I'm far from perfect, but I want to work in this area. Does that make sense? If we do, I'm telling you, we'll be people who thrive. The leaders that have gone before me, the leaders that have taught me, the mentors and pastors in my life that have made the biggest impact are people who have been consistent. They're always the same. Their character is always the same. They're always learning. They're always people who are real, humble, generous. They're always people who are after God. They're always people who are getting help in their weaknesses. Stay consistent in all those kind of areas, and that'll help us stay the course. Be steadfast, consistent in waiting on the Lord, consistent in patience, consistent in trusting God that his plans will come through, trusting God that if he's for me, I know nothing can stand against me. If I stay consistent in my faith, God will come through. Consistent in being immovable. Nothing's going to sway me, right? I may bend, but I won't break. It may look like I'm shaken, but nothing will shake. The righteous will not be shaken, the Bible says. So I don't want to be moved easily by what people tell me, by their praises or by their criticism. I don't want to be moved. I want to make sure I listen to the right voices. And so you got to be consistent. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. There's something beautiful in continuing to show up daily. And I think God blesses that and honors that. And so today, character, competence, and consistency. 3 keys that I think can help us stay the course. You are steadfast. You are immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. It is not in vain. If you stay a person of character, if you stay a person of competence, if you stay a person of consistency, God blesses that. And you become a person who thrives. You become a husband who thrives, a father who thrives, a wife who thrives, a mother who thrives, a friend who thrives, a leader who thrives, a man of God or a woman of God who thrives if you stay the course. Longevity. There's something beautiful about that. Think about that this week. How can you be a person of longevity? I want to stick around. Maybe in the past, it hasn't worked out. Maybe you had relationships that didn't work out, marriages that didn't work out, careers, organizations that didn't work out. Cool. Today we could begin again and think, how can I be a person that sticks around? There's something beautiful in longevity. I want to create some friendships, and they're going to be based on a character, consistency, competence. I want to start a new marriage. Perhaps you got divorced, and today you have an opportunity to start again. Hey, let's do this for the long haul. Let's do this for long. Today, I lead an organization. I'm part of a leadership team. I want to be here for the long haul. There's something beautiful in that. Well, I'm going to bring my character. I'm going to bring my competence, and I'm going to bring consistency. And today, I believe if you do that, you'll begin to thrive. You were not created to survive, but to thrive. And if you change yourself, you can change your world.